Great show. What is up? Welcome. Welcome. What'd you think of the show, Rach? I know we spoke briefly during the show, but I thought it was good, man. I can honestly say that I enjoyed back-to-back nights Raw and NXT, man. Great seeing the Hardys. Great seeing the Hardys. It wasn't quite WrestleMania 33 again, but good seeing them on the show, man. Got a couple big matches scheduled for 2 weeks, right, in New York City. It's going to be a good card. Next week looks like a pretty good card, too. Just about to check YouTube. Nice. Good timing. Good timing, Rach. Yeah, I loved it, too, man. From the nostalgia of the Hardys to all the up-and-coming superstars to seeing a lot of former AEW talent get opportunities on the show. Lexus King from Cincinnati, even though he lost to Moose, good seeing Moose on there. It's crazy the names saw on this NXT show, from Moose to the Hardys to Lexus King from AEW, Ethan Page, now Ricky Starks, Ricky Saints from AEW. Insane. I can't wait to talk a little bit about it from start to finish here. So give it a strong 10. Yeah, I'm right in that territory. I was going to go 9.5, but I ain't mad at that. I ain't mad if you give it a 10 at all. Again, I thought this was a very, very good show. And what do you think about Julia Stephanie Vaquer at Roadblock for winner takes all with those two titles? I think something's going to happen during that match because I don't see either one of them outright winning. I see some kind of funny business as much as either one are definitely strong enough to hold both. Stephanie just got that title, and I don't see her losing that title just yet. And, Julia's not going to lose her title either too early. What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Be sure to hit that thumbs up when you get in here. Thank you for those already have joined me. We're going to talk a little NXT in a couple of minutes. We had a great show tonight. We had a really good show. From the Hardy Boys to all the new up-and-coming talent, the TNA crossover, Jordan Grace, full-time member now, saw Moose make his way over. We got to see a lot of former AEW stars that are now NXT. Lexus King, Ethan Page, Ricky Starks, now Ricky Saints. So, and if you want to talk about the Hardys, again, they're former AEW too. So pretty wild. But I appreciate everybody showing the love with the likes, the thumbs up, and all that good stuff. And we're going to start the review in a couple of minutes here. Wait till some more people file in. Do you think we could see a heel turn for one of them? For Julia or Stephanie? Is that what you're talking about, Rach? Absolutely. I think the natural heel out of the two is absolutely Stephanie Vaquer, from her presentation to her music. But don't get me wrong, Julia could just as easily become a heel as well. But I think right now, of the two, specifically, as you asked, I see Stephanie Vaquer being the heel out of the two. So appreciate you guys just joining me here on this review of NXT. We're going to talk not just NXT on this live, but we're going to talk about that primarily in the beginning. Be sure to hit that thumbs up when you make your way in here, guys. Hit that subscribe button, all right, on the road to 800 subs. And be sure to subscribe, hit that like button. And again, would love to hear your comments. If you watched NXT, even if you didn't, feel free to talk about Raw last night or all the other shows later this week. We got Elimination Chamber Saturday. So a lot to look forward to, as we bleed right into March, right? This Saturday, March 1st. So, Silva, what's up, man? Silva, you subscribed? Thank you. My favorite Funko, I guess out of my wrestling ones that I actually have back here, there's many beautiful ones that I got, right? But I got to go with Stone Cold Steve Austin, just like he's my GOAT favorite of all time. But there's a lot of really cool-looking ones, honestly. Sergeant Slaughter, to name a few I see out here. Funko Pop King. John Cena or The Rock, if I had to pick one. Is that what you're saying? Cindy, how we doing? How is everything? But as far as John Cena or The Rock, you're talking about who do I like more as a wrestler, Funko Pop? The Rock's amazing, but I'll probably lean towards more Cena, even though Rock was more of my era. Guys, be sure to hit that subscribe button, all right? Make your way in here, hit that subscribe to the channel, hit that like button. I promise, the like and the subscribe don't cost you anything at all. And then whatever comments you want to talk about, whether it's NXT tonight, whether you want to talk about other shows throughout the week, you want to kick it old school and talk about the 80s or 90s, or that's what I call old school. Would love to hear that in the comments throughout the live as well. So, Morella, how we doing? How we doing today? I always get that question. I always get that soccer question, Ronaldo or Messi. It's Messi. It's Messi every time. But I like Ronaldo. I'm not huge on soccer or football, but I do dabble. I do dabble. All right, guys, we're going to talk a little NXT Tuesday night in a couple minutes. All right, they were on the road tonight in Cincinnati, Ohio, and we're going to get down to business. So again, guys, if you haven't already, now is the time to subscribe. Hit that like button. Hit that thumbs up. I know we got a few more people than likes in here, so let's hit that like button when you make your way in here. Hit that subscribe, and we're going to get down to business in just a moment's time here. Opened up with a pretty good women's match, a title defense, which, look, we knew Stephanie was going to retain, right? Stephanie Vaquer. She's amazing. I said earlier when I was on live on TikTok earlier this afternoon, she may be my up and coming favorite in the company in all of WWE, quite honestly, not just NXT. Cindy, thank you. Don't make you're making me blush over here. All right, making me blush. Trying to do my review. Appreciate it. Again, guys, be sure to hit that subscribe button. All right. So look, Stephanie Vaquer defended her North American Championship tonight. She went up against Carmen Petrovich. She's still in the storyline with Ashanti Adonis. I mean, I don't know, man. I mean, look, it's better than being in Hit Row, I guess, these days. But I don't know what's really going on with that. Good match. Good, not great. Carmen held her own. It was fun. She had some offense, some retaliation, but and still North American champion. Stephanie got the win. Post match, Julia came out. Now it's well documented these two are good friends, right? You see it on social media. Julia and Stephanie, they're like inseparable. Julia comes out. She says, "Look, you say you're the best champion, but you're not." She says that to Stephanie. She says, "I am," and then she follows up by saying, "Why don't we find out who the best woman is, and then we'll have a title versus title match." At the end of the show, Ava would clarify we're going to get this match at Roadblock in 2 weeks in the Madison Square Garden Theater, which there's a couple other matches that were added for that tonight. 2 other matches, which we'll get to throughout the course of this review. But man, that's going to be fun. And I think there's going to be some kind of funny business. Again, as I say at the top here, I was talking to Rachel when she first got on here. I don't see Julia, who's been champ for barely 2 months, and Stephanie, she's been champ for barely 2 weeks. I don't see either one of them losing the title just yet. So could I see eventually one of them being the double champ? Absolutely. But I don't think the time is right just now. So Miss J, how we doing? That's all right, Miss J. You're busy. You're busy. You make most of the lives. Thank you for being here. Thought Trick was very rude to Javon and even Ricky. Absolutely, Rachel. Yeah, maybe a Trick Williams little heel run on NXT before he goes up to WWE. I don't know. Maybe he has a chip on his shoulder right now, but maybe that turns into him becoming a heel. So we'll see. We'll see what that equates to. But as we move forward here again, guys, it's all right. Hey, got to get your rest, right? Get your rest while you can, Miss J. Following that opening match, that women's match, we'd see a segment with Lola Vice. So I feel like we haven't seen Lola Vice in a couple of weeks. I'm a big fan of her too. Long story short, she challenged Santina Morella's daughter, Ariana Grace, to a match here tonight on NXT, where we would have Miss MMA versus Miss NXT, as Lola phrased it. We get that match later in the night. Was if you blink, you missed it. So we'll see what happens. Lola, she's probably going on a pretty good winning streak this year. And again, I don't know how much longer they're going to keep her in NXT. Lola's one who I could see them, sneaking up or having her be drafted to the main roster sooner than later. So yes, the eyeball emojis, yes, are very appropriate at this time. Trying to barely staying awake here, Rachel. So again, following this, we would then have Cincinnati's own Lexis King, Brian Pillman Jr., the Heritage Cup champion going up against the TNA X Division champion in Moose. Physical match. Moose gets the win. Let's jump to the post match. That's what this is all about. Post match, Obafemi comes out, proposes they have a match in 2 weeks at Roadblock in Madison Square Garden Theater, much like Stephanie Vaquer and Julia will. And this is going to be for the NXT Championship. So you look at a lot of these matches, like later on, you're going to see the Hardys. We find out through Santina Morella, the director of authority on TNA. Santina Morella says the Hardys will go up against Fraxium at Roadblock. And it's always interesting to see what title's going to be defended, right? And that's who's probably more times than not going to win. So Obafemi's going to defend his NXT title. I don't see Moose winning based off the fact I don't see Oba losing his title, right? The Hardys, they're going to be only defending their TNA tag titles against Fraxium, but Fraxium is not defending theirs. So that would then lead us to probably, hey, who knows? Anything could happen. But probably lead us to believe that the Hardys will get the win. Because I don't necessarily see any title changes, but I see a lot of interesting matchups. Now, the one that's interesting especially is Julia versus Stephanie, title versus title. But again, I don't see anything happening in that regard as far as any kind of title changes. You know what I mean? I just don't see that happening. So so that was that. Those were the first couple of matches. And we were like at least in the half hour, 40 minutes into the show at this point. But yeah, we'll love some popcorn too. Thanks for the popcorn emojis. So we would have a brief Sean Spears vignette. He discusses putting together his own family of sorts, right? Says he will take the North American Championship from Tony D'Angelo next week. The next week we have a matchup between Sean Spears and Tony D for that North American title. We would also find out later in the night next week we have a match between Jada Parker and Kalani Jordan. Jada Parker had some words for Kalani later on in the show, which I thought was a very good segment by Jada. And there's at least one other match. Oh, yeah, there's another match next week we're going to get to, a women's tag match. Kind of random. We got Chelsea Green and Piper Niven making their way from SmackDown. I don't know what the United States champion of all people is doing here. Realistically, I think it's silly. But anyway, they're going up against Sol Ruka and Zarya next week. So those are 3 matches that are scheduled for next week, presumably back in Orlando, Florida, right? Because the following week they're in New York City for Roadblock, is what it is. Jordan Grace makes her way out, says the moment she showed up in the Royal Rumble last year, she knew that this was exactly where she belonged. She would then get interrupted shortly thereafter by Roxanne Perez, who defeated her at Battleground back in the springtime, right, or early summer. She would also reference that. And Jordan says, well, if this is your division, Roxanne, then, where's your title? Where's your title at? Val, how are we doing on this lovely, lovely Tuesday, late night? Hope all is well, Val. So, yeah, Jordan said, look, Roxanne, if this is your division, where's your title? Roxanne says, look, she's going to win the Elimination Chamber this Saturday in Toronto and then go on the Mania and win the World Championship. Maybe come back to NXT, become, Roxanne 2 belts or whatever. Brief scuffle would then ensue. And Roxanne, she actually got caught in a very precarious position. She actually got caught on the top of the ring ropes, which could have been bad. She could have got severely injured, which would have potentially put her out for a while, not just only this weekend at Elimination Chamber. So that was a little ugly how that ended between Jordan Grace and Roxanne Perez. And again, this is a big deal. Both of these women on NXT in WWE. Just 3 years ago, Roxanne came over from Ring of Honor, right? She was the champion over in Ring of Honor. And then Jordan Grace was just the champion in TNA. So them leaving two, very notable but smaller promotions compared to WWE to pave their own path here. Roxanne surely has. Jordan will soon too. It says a lot. It says a lot, especially about the NXT women's division. So very exciting times. The backstage, again, as Rachel referenced earlier on, Trick Williams said he's about to crash out. He had an attitude with Javon Evans and even Ricky Starks. Ricky Saints, who approached him. Ricky Saints, it's his second week here, whatever. He's like, why is everybody always so moody and mad in NXT? Which, he's got a point. There's always a lot of tempers, flaring, and tension in NXT for some reason. Jada Parker, speaking of which, we were just talking about Jada Parker. She cut one hell of a promo on Kalani Jordan. Again, they have a match next week on NXT. And I love the reference she made to Kalani's man, Carmelo Hayes, right? She goes, there may be a him on WWE, the main roster, but you ain't her on NXT, which I thought was cool. I'm sure most people got it. Very few, it probably flew over their heads, but I thought that was good. Then this would lead to the Hardy Boys going up against the No Quarter Catch crew. This was awesome. Hardy's tag teaming on WWE programming, although it's NXT, not Raw or SmackDown for the first time in better part of 5 years. Again, it wasn't WrestleMania 33 when they returned surprisingly in Orlando, Florida, but I will say that it was just as exciting in the sense of it was good to see them back, as TNA Tag Champions too. Very, very different scenario here. So the Hardy Boys got a big welcome back chant. It's great to see. Miles Bourne, who's been very reminiscent of young Randy Orton the last few weeks or months, the way he's just presented himself more and more, from his motions to his ring gear to his tattoos, his look, all that. He even got a "You're Not Randy" chant, which I thought was really funny throughout this match. So again, Miles Bourne, Tavion Heights were with Ren Sinclair and Charlie Dempsey ringside. The way this one ended was with a twist of fate by Matt Hardy, Swanton Bomb by Jeff Hardy for the 1-2-3. Post-match, Nathan Frazier and Fraxium, they were ringside for the match, right? As I said earlier, they'll go on and have a match in 2 weeks' time. This was squared away by Santino Marella of TNA, the Director of Authority, and we'll have that match at NXT Roadblock, Madison Square Gardens Theater, New York City. So that's going to be great. That card's really shaping up to be something. Again, I don't really see any title changes happening from the matches that I see presented, but I do think it's going to be a fun time and a fun show to be at for sure. Who do I think will win? Rach, are you referring to the Hardy match? I'm thinking the Hardys are going to win because only their titles are on the line, to be honest with you. If that's the one you're discussing here, I do think that's the case. I mean, look, Fraxium could go on and win. They've had a stellar run in 2024 on NXT, so maybe they could hold 2 sets of tag titles. That could be fun. That's not totally out the realm of possibility, really. It was cool to see Santino in WWE again. Yes, it was. It was a lot of very nice moments, and I'm glad like a show like this was not in Orlando. I'm glad it was on the road with a different crowd. You got a lot bigger, better reactions than you would just with a much smaller crowd in Orlando, Florida. Not to say they would be ungrateful, but most of them are there every week, and it's way different than being on the road. You know what I mean? Jada versus Jordan, you're asking about? Okay. Um, I could see Kalani Jordan sneaking one past Jada Parker, getting her a little pissed. I feel like at this point in time, Jada Parker would be too obvious of a choice to win. Look, she may go out there and handle business, and that's that. Maybe this is where we tend to see Kalani Jordan slowly but surely be on her way to being a well-known heel, too. Maybe Kalani Jordan gets a dirty victory. I wouldn't mind that either. And Jada would say, "Oh, really? You took it there." And then maybe Jada wins the rematch, her best 2 out of 3. But I could see Kalani Jordan sneaking by with a nice victory there, even if she has to cheat to get past Jada Parker, to be honest with you. So I wouldn't mind seeing something like that. Then we proceed to Chelsea Green, Piper Niven. Told you about that next week. Chelsea and Piper versus Sol Ruca Zaria. Ariana Grace versus Lola Vice. Not much to say here. Lola made quick work of her. But it looked like she had a knot on her forehead. I don't know at what point. I'm assuming Ariana Grace gave her a knot on her head. I don't even remember the last time Ariana Grace even had a match on NXT, to be honest with you. So maybe Ariana Grace should just, I know she's like, I forget her exact name, but she works with her father, Santino, as far as the NXT, TNA back and forth. Kind of like The Rock gave Ava that position last year. As soon as the first week The Rock joined the TKO board, lo and behold, Ava was no longer an active wrestler and she became the NXT GM. Maybe we should just see Ariana Grace in more of that role. Not to say she can't wrestle, but maybe they just have her entertain us from that standpoint. Excuse me. Have us be entertained by that standpoint rather than having her in the ring. Not to say Ariana's not great, but I don't know. I could do without watching her in the ring, realistically. So we'll see what happens there. We'll see what happens there. At this moment, we got an Eddie Thorpe promo. I think potentially I'd stepped out of the room for this, but I think Eddie Thorpe might have been shooting a promo on Trick Williams. Correct me if I'm wrong in the chat. Then we would be on our way to the main event already. Again, Ava made an announcement to officially declare all the matches for Roadblock, right? The 3 that I mentioned throughout this show. Steph and Julia, winner take all match. Again, I think some funny business happens. I don't see either Julia or Stephanie walking away with both titles just yet. I would love that for one of them, especially Stephanie. I love Julia too, I really do, but I've been liking Stephanie a lot lately. She's really been growing on me as far as a favorite. So could you see Ava in the ring again? Ever? Absolutely. How soon, Rachel? Not so sure. Not so sure. I'll be honest with you. I'll be very honest with you. I'm not sure about that. So let's jump into this main event. Then I'll probably head over to TikTok where I know we could get ourselves a better late night crowd. But I love YouTube. I love YouTube. But sometimes it's tough on a Tuesday night. So let's jump into the main event. Wesley and Ethan Page versus Javon Evans and Ricky Saints. Now, I got to say, I really like Ricky Saints' new theme. It's eerily similar to his AEW theme, but even better in my opinion, especially with the whole Saints jazz bit, New Orleans, where he's from. You get a lot more of instrumentation, right? Almost like a live band is playing, right? So I like that. I really like this theme. I got to hear it back a few more times, but I like what I heard for the theme. Gave him a great entrance. Gave him a phenomenal entrance. So I think I could really buy into this Ricky character. It's not to say I didn't buy into him in AEW, but this feels a little more special. And credit to WWE. They're very well known to make, even if it's just a little bit or a lot of it, they're known to make people that much more special, significant, take them to a different level, whatever that means, right? So I like what we're seeing here thus far. Late in the match, Javon Evans, Ethan Page fight their way into the crowd, never to be seen again. It would still be a 3-on-1 advantage for the heels because you got to remember Wesley still had his boys Tyson and Tyreek ringside if needed. They tried to pull a fast one on the apron. Ricky made quick work of that, knocking both of them off the apron at one point or another. Long story short, this ends in a Rochambeau for the win. That's Ricky's finisher, keeping the same name seemingly that he had in AEW for it for NXT for the 1, 2, 3. And that was it. Show ended with Ricky in the ring. I love it. Good for him. He did his signature pose. Thought it was fantastic. I love the show top to bottom. Again, I'm not one of these people that come on here every week. Rachel or whoever's still in here, one of my day ones, know that, I don't come on here and blow smoke up any show, whether it's Raw, SmackDown, NXT, Dynamite, Collision, TNA, you name it, PLEs, pay-per-views. I call it how it is, right down the middle. No favoritism, just pure honesty. And what I saw on Raw Monday night and what I saw on NXT Tuesday night, the first two shows of this week, have been nothing short of fantastic. So I can only hope that Dynamite, I may tune in the TNA this Thursday. We'll see. I know they have some good matches on the card. But Wednesday, hopefully, is good on Dynamite. Friday night SmackDown's usually been very rough, even if the card's been good collectively. 3 hours is 3 hours. For Friday night SmackDown, it's long. It's the end of the week. We've already watched how much wrestling? We're all kind of spent. And by the way, we got to keep our energy up for Elimination Chamber Saturday night in Toronto. So it's gonna be a big deal too. Unsanctioned matches, men's, women's chamber. You got John Cena, who is going to be getting to that title opportunity. Will Punk finally be able to main event? Will Cena be able to get a title opportunity at his last Mania? A lot of things are on the line. A lot of things are on the line. Trish Stratus will be wrestling. Trish Stratus will be with Tiffany Stratton going up against Nia and Candice in her hometown of Toronto. So a lot of things are exciting. A lot of things are revving up. Let's see here. What would you call match of the night? Match of the night tonight. I mean, obviously, the feel-good moment for the most part was for the Hardys. Absolutely happy for Lexis King being home. And even though I'm not too invested in his character. And also, I got to say, good for Ricky, right? Good for Ricky getting that main event victory, pinfall, and all that. Favorite match of the night? I'll be honest. I love the opening match because Stephanie Vaquer never puts on a bad match. Carmen Petrovic was all right in that match, but that was a lot of fun. Maybe the main event. Maybe the main event. There was a lot going on. It was exciting. A lot of back and forth. I'll probably go with the main event. But there was a lot of good wrestling tonight. Moose brought it, as he always does. Moose looked phenomenal. Again, 7-year NFL veteran. So Caden here says, The Rock returned on SmackDown. Said, I want your soul, not your title. Yes. Yeah, we talked about that on many episodes, Caden. Yeah, the last few days. And so we'll see what happens there. Be my champion at Chamber. Yeah, we're going to see what Cody decides. We're going to talk more about that later this week on my lives. But we will see, what Cody decides come Saturday night. Will he be joining The Rock, being that corporate champion with him, or will he go on his own? We'll see. I wouldn't be surprised by either, honestly. If Cody continues his babyface run for a little bit longer, so be it. If he does turn heel, all right, he was bought out. We've seen this story before. You like Stephanie? Yeah, I'm buying more and more into Stephanie. I mean, she's phenomenal. It's one thing whether or not you like her character or presentation, but one thing about Stephanie Vaquer that's absolutely undeniable is how good she is in that ring. She's just flawless, damn near flawless, and powerful for somebody who's of somewhat shorter stature. She is built like an absolute machine. So, guys, I'm going to head out of here in a couple of minutes. Any last-minute questions, comments, concerns? If you just got in here, like Caden or whomever else, be sure to hit that like button, guys. Hit that thumbs up in the chat. Everyone counts. Again, if you have not already, please subscribe to the YouTube channel here. Again, I may hop on the TikTok for a little bit after this. I know I usually get a bigger crowd on TikTok, especially at night. But any last comments, questions, concerns about anything? Sean, what's up, brother? Yeah, the Hardys are back. It was great to see them, man. As I said earlier before you got in here, listen, it wasn't WrestleMania 33 again, and it wasn't a surprise this time. But I will tell you, it's good to see them still doing their thing in 2025 as TNA champions. And I got to tell you, man, they looked good. They looked good tonight. All things considered, right? At their age, how many years, how much mileage they've got on their bodies in that ring. I've been watching them since I was, 11? I'm now 38. So, I mean, all that they've been able to accomplish over the years has been fantastic. And I'm very happy for them being able to step into, even though it wasn't Raw or SmackDown or PLE, getting on a WWE show on NXT. And they're going to be wrestling at the Garden in 2 weeks. So good for them, man. Good for them, defending their TNA titles against Fraxium. I feel like she'd be cool to hang out with, too. Yeah, Stephanie Vaquer, she just seems super chill. Like her and Julia, I could see why they're friends, Rachel. They just seem like super chill, and they're about their business too. They're very, very good at what they do. Obviously, the two women's champions on NXT. So, Mox Wallets, good thing I stuck around, guys. Look, a lot of my crew's coming in here. Mox, how we doing? How we doing, my friend? Just wrapped up a great NXT review here. It was very brief because I'm going to go on TikTok in a little bit and discuss it further. But again, guys, when you make your way in here, please hit that thumbs up. If you're new here as well, hit that subscribe button. And we'll see. I usually am just on here Mondays and Fridays for Raw and SmackDown. We'll see. We'll see what happens with Dynamite tomorrow night. I will be watching. Not sure if I'll be on here immediately following the show, but we'll see. Game time decision. Game time decision. I had to bless people on my TikTok earlier trying to get me to buy into the... Oh, wow, Rach. Hopefully Cody will not turn with The Rock on Elimination Chamber. Yeah, we're going to find out. What do you think? What do you think, Sean? You think Cody's going to stand his ground, or do you think he's going to fall into the rut becoming a heel? I mean, maybe it's something a lot of people have wanted to see. You know, I do understand that. They want to see a different Cody or a heel Cody. Because let's be honest, man, Cody could absolutely pull it off. You know, there's only a few requests we make, all right, if Cody goes heel. He's got to ditch the blonde hair, which I'm sure he would, right? And because I feel like that would only hurt his heel shtick. And yeah, man, Cody could absolutely do it. It's just, you know, it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. Will it be while he's still champion? Will he turn heel? Will he turn heel on his second go around as champion later down the road? So we will have to see. But any last comments, questions, concerns, guys? I am out of here in like 3 minutes or so, 3 or 4 minutes. So let me know what you want to discuss. I know some of you were not here for the Raw review last night. If you want to discuss Raw, I know some of you were discussing SmackDown from this past Friday, NXT, whatever you want to talk about, guys. Drop it in the chat. Again, hit that like button, guys. If you have not hit that thumbs up when you made your way in here, appreciate it. Heard Cena could sell to the Rock and screw Cardi. Yeah, I mean, sure, that could happen, Mox. You know, I just don't see it happening on Cena's final run. I honestly have no investment. I don't care if Cena goes heel or stays face. I just feel like he's going to remain face for this final run. But hey, that would be a twist if I ever seen one. I've been thinking if we get the bench chamber before the Rock Cody, then maybe he will turn heel. Okay, all right. Jennifer Ever, what's up, my friend? How are we doing? How are we doing tonight? How we doing, bro? What if Michael Cole sells his soul? Hey, it might happen. Nas, what's up, man? Great catching you guys here, guys. Appreciate you stopping in. Just wrapped up an NXT talk. May hop on TikTok in a few as well. Guys, if you just made your way in here, be sure to hit that like button. Again, I know many of you are already subscribed, but if not, hit that subscribe button. Feel free to share the live while I'm on here for a few more minutes. And again, guys, just hit that thumbs up. Appreciate you being here. Good seeing you. A lot of you guys making your way in here at the end here. Good to see you. But yeah, NXT was a good show, man. NXT was a lot of fun. NXT was a lot of fun on the road tonight. If you were in Cody's shoes, what would you do? I would like to think I would stand my ground at this moment in time, Rachel, just because The Rock, I know he could promise me all this power and he's on the board and stuff, but he beat the living hell out of me last year if I'm Cody. I mean, now granted, you know, these guys have been drinking nonstop, you know, Terramana the last couple of months, whether it's Raw, Netflix, or Friday Night SmackDown on USA Network, but I don't know, man. Jury's out on Cody doing that. And I know they're blurring the line between kayfabe and real life, but it's a hard one, man. It could change his career in a lot of ways that, you know, obviously all the fanfare he has. So we know how much Cody doesn't want to turn heel in general, as he didn't want to do it in AEW when I thought it would have been a good time. Remember when he was in that, what was it? A 6-man tag or something like that? It was him and FTR versus Andrade and a couple other folks. And he threw his belt into the crowd, and then somebody in the crowd threw the weight belt back at him, right? Because that's how tired people were of seeing Cody on AEW, believe it or not, and bored of his babyface shtick. So it's hard to say. How awesome was it to see the Hardys back on TV? I was very excited for them. I made sure I was seated for that one, so that was good to see. Hopefully Cena will win the Chamber. Yeah, Sean, my heart's saying Cena. I've been saying it for the last 4 days. You know, my heart's saying Cena. My head is thinking Punk, though. So would not be surprised with either outcome. And then whoever's the odd man out, whether it's Punk or Cena, presumably I think one of them are going to win, right? Then the mystery is what's going to happen following that, right? What's going to happen going forward. So who do you think might be the next torch holder after Cena? Roman? More than capable, Mox. I mean, more than capable. But I don't think it's a foregone conclusion just because I'm not so sure, you know, how long Roman will remain, you know, wrestling or with the company, or who knows what other endeavors he wants to go on, because he just embarked on the best run and title reign and storyline, all that stuff the last few years. And how could you really top that? So Roman's more than capable, but we'll see. I think I joined Roxas, Rachel. Oh, Rachel's selling out. Rachel's selling out. All right. Look, I get it. Hey, sometimes money talks, right? BS walks. So again, guys, thank you for joining me here tonight. Going to wrap up in a few minutes. Again, if you just joined me, be sure to be subscribed to the channel. Hit that like button, guys. Hit that thumbs up. Neither one costs you anything. I promise you will not be charged with a fee for hitting the thumbs up button on this live or subscribing to the channel. Yeah, Roman been around for a while, so has Seth. Yeah, they really have, Mox. It's funny, like, you think these guys are still young and relatively, hopefully, health-wise, they remain healthy and still have a while to go, that being Seth and Roman. But at the same time, I mean, they've been wrestling for a minute. They've been wrestling for a hot minute in a lot of competitive matches, all sorts of matches, pay-per-views, PLEs, and obviously weekly programming. So we'll see. We'll see. Any last comments, questions, concerns, guys? Yeah, well over 10 years. Well over 10 years. Better part of 15, realistically. And that's not to mention everything Seth did prior to NXT or FCW, right? Tyler Black, Ring of Honor, all that stuff. So appreciate you guys joining me. Thank you. Thank you for being here with me late on this Tuesday night. Any last questions, comments, concerns? Otherwise, I will see you guys soon. Eventually, I could see Cena pass the torch to Braun Breaker. Yeah, I mean that's not totally out of the realm of possibility too, especially if Braun by then is in a babyface capacity. Rachel, I could absolutely see that. Yeah, NXT has stepped up and raised the bar. They really have. I mean, not just with the significant signings they've had on the men's and women's side, especially the women's. Um, but man, the quality of show has been great too. It was in a very weird spot when Vince was controlling it with Bruce Pritchard and stuff for a little bit there with the NXT 2.0 reboot when Triple H's health was a little suspect and they kind of were screwing it up. They got rid of the black and gold in 2021 and a lot of things were weird. They had a lot of talent there still. I mean, they had brought in Solo Sikoa, they had Gunther there still. So they had a lot of talent that they were making it work with, but they brought in all this new talent and I don't know, the show just felt kind of odd, right? It didn't feel like good old NXT. But the last year and a half, man, last year and a half, 2 years at least, it's kind of gotten back to a place of like, wow, like there is a ton of talent. Now you got the TNA partnership, and it's amazing, from seeing legends to future superstars. So let's see here. What do you think of the NXT TNA collaboration? Yes, so I love it. I absolutely love it. For the nostalgia intents and purposes, like seeing the Hardys tonight, from even a little bit of nostalgia, finally a guy like Moose getting some shine on a WWE program, right? It's been a long time coming, much overdue. And now a lot of these guys getting opportunities, like the Hardys, like Moose, at Madison Square Garden at Roadblock in 2 weeks. So hey, man, that's pretty damn cool. I think we're getting Zilla by the end of 2025. I'm going to say 60-40 in favor of probably no, Rachel. Again, it's right up there, perhaps, but I'm going to lean towards no. Maybe 26, though. TNA, NXT kind of makes it exciting. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I thought NXT was doing their thing on their own for quite a while, and the same could be said about TNA. I know TNA has a harder time locking down talent because they're either going to back to WWE or they're going to an AEW or they may go international. So TNA always finds a way to keep a good roster of men and women, but it's here for 2 or 3 months, gone. Sometimes you get people for a couple of years, but a lot of the top talent seem to fly around, with the exception of a few. Obviously there are household names for years, like Jordan Grace, like Josh Alexander and such, but who are both have left. 26 Rumble, yeah, Rach, that's a good idea. That's a good idea. Thank you guys for all of the a few of you guys that have hit that like button and that subscribe button as well. I'm gonna head out of here shortly. Any last comments, questions, concerns, guys? Pro wrestling, anything. If you got something, shoot. Otherwise, I'm going to make my way out of here. May head over to the TikTok live for a few minutes tonight. You too, Mox. Great seeing you in here, my friend. Hope to see you later in the week. At latest, guys. At absolute latest, I'll be here Friday night after SmackDown. All right, I'll be here Friday after SmackDown. If I'm not here after Dynamite tomorrow, definitely Friday after SmackDown. So hope to see all you ladies and gentlemen Friday night. Again, thank you for joining me for this fun, brief, but fun nonetheless, rare NXT review. And I can only assume that next Tuesday I will not be doing a review. The following Tuesday, however, Madison Square Garden, Roadblock, I will absolutely be reviewing that. Now it's just a matter of, I know I get higher volume, absolutely, on the lives here when I go to TikTok, but this is where I really want to extend my future on YouTube more so I try to stay on here more so. But I will definitely keep you guys posted. I'm going to do a review of that NXT Roadblock show in 2 weeks' time on March 11th. So whether it's here, whether it's on TikTok Live, I'll definitely let you know. Yes, absolutely, Rachel. I'll see you and the crew over on TikTok in just a couple minutes. Guys, have a great night. Hope to see most of you over on TikTok in a few minutes if you have me over there as well. If not, I'll see you here Friday night after Friday Night SmackDown. You guys take care.